Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for inviting me here today to speak about the challenges. Normally I speak about the solutions, because our organization is all about the solutions, and we've been on the road for 9 years. We basically came from no focus on food waste to incredible focus on food waste, where, you know, supermarket chains like Netto, Danish supermarket, are doing great work to stop wasting food, and companies like Nestlé doing great work to stop wasting food. A lot of people here, sitting here in Danish organizations like the Food Bank, is doing also great work to stop wasting food. So basically, we drove all this tremendous change. We worked with 3 governments. We are not a political organization. We work with both sides, and I'm a member of the European Union's platform on food losses and waste. Been participating in great pleasure with the Fusions project led by Tuan Timmermans. He's leading today the EU Refresh project. And I'm also the champion 12.3, together with the Minister for the Food and Agriculture and Environment, which is, and you, Craig, the World Resources Institute, is managing the champions. So we have a great task ahead of us. And Craig, you asked me to concentrate on the challenges. Especially, how can gastronomy, the sector, and the frontrunners influence the consumption values and cooking habits, leading to a better use of food resources and prevention of food waste? Now, actually, I parted it into 7 sub-challenges. And Craig, please stop me when you think my time's up, because I can just keep talking. By the way, if you want to know more about our work, you can just go to BBC or CNN. We've just been featured recently there, and the BBC video got 28 million views worldwide. Many of you have seen it. So it can give you an overview of what we do. But today we're talking about the gastronomy. And you know, when I was thinking about the session, I came up with this new word. It's called food intelligence. You know, it's like the social intelligence and something called the food intelligence. Food intelligence is something that many people do not have today, because families are too busy. They don't know how to cook. They don't have time to cook. They don't have time to eat. They cook prepared meals. They don't eat anymore with each other. They just stare down their Facebook, Instagram, whatever. So basically, it's a huge challenge. And at the same time, the number of cookbooks, the number of cooking TV shows, the number of celebrity chefs is growing all over the world. So the first challenge is, how can these, let I call it the food elite, because it is the food elite, it is the top chefs, it is the food bloggers, it is the celebrity chefs. How can this food elite go down from their pedestal and help the masses to gain more food intelligence? For example, how can families today even start to think about how to stop wasting food if they don't even know how to cook? So this is a challenge. How can food elite be less elite and more people and help the masses? Which brings me to the challenge number 2. How do the gastronomy frontrunners and influencers, why are they not using their power? Basically, there are a lot of food bloggers with millions of followers on Instagram. There are a lot of celebrity chefs with millions of media exposures. And basically, it's like the 2 worlds. We have, you know, the elite people in the cooking business, and then we have the masses. And sometimes, you know, when the masses say, but I cannot follow the chef because it is too damn complicated. And that is why, you know, people, they're kind of separated. And that's why I'm thinking, why not? Why not every major cookbook and every major TV cooking show not starting from the scratch, but why not shopping your fridge first? Why not showing people that, hey, what you already have in the fridge, let's use it up first? Why not inspiring ordinary consumers to use what they already have? You know, because all the restaurants, all the kitchens, all the canteens, they're already doing very good job and stop wasting food. Waste of food is waste of money. So, I mean, it's a professional business. They do not waste food because it means waste of money. Now, how can we bring that to the masses? And finally, why not introducing a kind of a world standard? that, for example, in every cookbook, starting from the beginning of 2018, why is there not a section on what can you do with your leftovers? Because all the cookbooks today is that you have to buy so much amount of food to make a small dish, and there's no information of what you can do with your leftovers. So why is that not a standard? We need to change that system. Challenge number 3. Oh, we know that one. How do we get control on the portion sizes? People from the United States, I know that your portion sizes are quite big. And actually, you know, I'm blogger in, the fake news. I'm blogger in the Huffington Post. It's very much fake news to a lot of people, but still it's quite a large newspaper in the United States. Recently, I did an opinion editorial with Jonathan Bloom from United States, who has been speaking on this food summit last year. Jonathan, he does a tremendous good job in Stop Wasting Food in the United States. And he and I, we did a opinion editorial on the portion sizes. And, you know, because Jonathan says that the dishes, you know, that the restaurants at the United States, you know, the plates and the restaurants is the same size of the plates of the serving plates that we're using in Europe. So the plates for the ordinary people in American restaurants are the same size as the serving plates in European restaurants. There are lots of American restaurants doing that, and we need to start addressing that issue, not only in the United States and globally, and why not rethinking, why, for example, introducing not small, medium, and large portion sizes? I mean, some people cannot eat that much. Some people are elderly people. Some people are, you know, they simply cannot eat so much food. Why not rethinking buffets? Because, you know, buffet is a food waste trap. I did a TED talk about this. Huge food waste traps because, you know, a lot of people, they take a lot on the plate and they eat only half and throw the half away. So basically, perhaps introducing a sign called "Take all you can eat, but remember to eat what you can take," and also smaller sizes of plates and perhaps even the portion sizes, because again, people sometimes cannot control themselves. Another thing, I know there's doing it in France, and there are a lot of people, well, all the restaurants were objected to it, but finally, why not introducing doggy bags, or for this thing, like in Denmark we did, and of course you've seen it already, it's a treat box, which basically a box that you can get in a restaurant for free, and you can transform it into a box. It's biodegradable, and you can take your leftovers with you. I can just send it around so you can look at it. Basically, why not doing much more for the doggy bags, making it a standard for the restaurants? And now, another thing, when we talk about again, the portion size of the restaurants, a lot of people expect that by the end of the day, in a canteen or a restaurant, there's a full menu. But maybe customers should not expect that. Maybe customers should say, okay, there are like 5 minutes to closing time. We know that we cannot expect the full-scale menu in the restaurant or in a canteen, because a lot of chefs, unfortunately, have this fear of, oh no, what if there's not enough food for our guests? And Too Good To Go. Meta, you're sitting right there. You are the founder of Too Good To Go app, which is taking over the world at the moment, which is good. It is a tremendous app, which you can take the leftovers on the buffet at a very reasonable price. And if you're a student, or if you're a food insecure person, or you don't have much money, you can actually buy restaurant food for very, very cheap prices. Now, is Too Good To Go a good solution for the restaurant buffets? Or will people maybe speculate in that at one point? Maybe they will. Maybe they will just wait for the Too Good To Go time for allowed closing a restaurant, and then they can grab the Too Good To Go offer. So that could be also a challenge. How do we gain control of those buffets and all of those portion sizes? Challenge number 4. Why not improving children's cooking skills? Now, we already touched the subject of children today. Children are the future consumers, and today not even their parents know how to cook. So we need to start somewhere. And basically, if children can teach their parents also how to cook, now the parents can also become interested in cooking. Here in Denmark, we have a government-supported campaign on Stop Wasting Food for schools, and a lot of schools already did the campaign, and a lot of kids are very much involved into the, not only how to stop wasting food, but where the food comes from, and what is, why the carrot is wonky, and stuff like that. So maybe restaurants, why not restaurants having like boot camps for kids on educating children to how stop wasting food, because restaurants have this tremendous inside knowledge. All the gastronomy people have inside knowledge on how to use the food, how to utilize the food, how to use the leftovers. So why not investing in teaching children to also, not only on the food waste, but on the food intelligence generally. And challenge number 5. How do we make it easier for the single people? In Denmark, 1/5 of the Danish population today are single people. And you know what? That number is growing. And in a lot of European countries, there are more and more single people. And according to statistics, single households are actually the ones who waste most of the food. Not because they want to waste food, because they simply cannot eat it up. They don't have, those super freezers where you can, put those UFOs, the unidentified frozen objects, all the food that has been lost and you don't know what it is. They simply don't have it because, they cannot eat up through all those portion sizes throughout that, the supermarket discounts that offering, for the family discounts, the bulk discounts, and not single item discounts. So basically, how can we be more single friendly? And I'm not talking about only the supermarkets, but also the restaurants. Again, I'm going back to the small, medium, large portion sizes, because some people maybe do not eat that much. Some people cannot eat through the portions. Maybe even, why not cookbooks for single people? Because there are lots of cookbooks for families, but not for the singles. So maybe we'd also need to concentrate on how can the food industry and supermarkets and the gastronomy become more single-friendly, because it will be a segment that will be growing, so we need to address that as well. And we're talking about the diversity today in the Food Summit. Challenge number 6 is, why are we not loving the wonky and the ugly? If you have the ugly and wonky carrots, it tastes just the same. But people, if you go to the supermarket and you see an apple that has spots and not really perfect versus an apple that is really polished and really perfect, people really buy the polished and the perfect apple. Although, if they have their own homegrown apples in apple trees, right now is very soon the apple season. I also have some apple trees in my garden. I mean, if they're wonky, if they're ugly, if they have spots, people eat them, of course, because they've grown them themselves. So how do canteens and restaurants, if we're talking about the ugly and the wonky farmers produce that perhaps supermarkets cannot sell because your customers say, it's wonky, it's ugly, I don't want to buy this from the Danish supermarket or co-op or whatever. But all that wonky and ugly produced, it can be used by chefs. It can be used by the gastronomy. It can be used by cafes, canteens and restaurants, because when you get your food served, it doesn't matter if it was ugly or wonky or had spots on it, because, it all got chopped up and put into a dish. So maybe we should look at more farmers produce to the ugly and the wonky that could go into the gastronomy, in restaurants and hospitals and kitchens. And again, maybe in the school education, as I already told you. I mean, the schools also need to be taught to the kids that the carrots cannot actually, only be straight. It can also be bendy and ugly. So that's why, why are we not using the ugly and the wonky? And finally, there is a small movement going on already in that field, and it is the food waste products. And basically, this is a Danish product. It's a tomato soup, and it is made out of food waste. Oh no, but it's not trash. It is made out of surplus tomatoes, of ugly surplus tomatoes that have otherwise would be wasted. So it was an overproduction from Funen, from the Danish, one of the Danish part of Denmark, and instead of throwing them away, they put it into a tomato soup, and they sell it in a lot of supermarkets. I can just let you go around this one. So basically, this is from food waste to growth. Why we do not have more of those solutions? Because right now, all the solutions are concentrated about giving the food to charities, which is important, which is good, but we also need to address what do we do with the overproduction. If we put overproduction into use, into growth, putting them on the supermarkets, selling them to people, and the only thing people should do is to buy the thing and eat the thing and stop wasting food, then you can have growth for the farmers, growth for the supermarkets, and you can reduce food losses and waste. Now, the final challenge. Why do we not do from nose to tail? And I know nose to tail is a little bit of Danish expression, but basically lots of restaurants, they do nose to tail. You've seen this in lunch. They did, this chicken skin chips, which is made basically of the chicken skin. I mean, otherwise, if you have people cooking, normally consumers, they throw the rest of the chicken skin out, but you can actually use it for food. Basically, restaurants have a lot of knowledge to reuse and reuse all the surplus food. But a lot of restaurants are not sharing that knowledge. A lot of restaurants, they're not flashing it. A lot of restaurants, they're not telling their customers that, hey, we're actually into stop wasting food. We're actually using the chicken skin into chips, into new products. We're using the stem of broccoli into salads and stuff like that. So basically, it can also become a competition parameter. Here in Denmark, we have the ReFood label where I'm a member of the board. And over 800 restaurants and canteens in Denmark are the members of ReFood label, which is basically the label for canteens and restaurants who do a lot of work to stop wasting food. And what I would love to see more in this challenge is canteens and restaurants and gastronomers are showing more to their customers, to their ordinary people, on that they are doing something to stop wasting food, to inspire the customers to stop wasting food. And the Unilever actually made a survey that's showing that more people are willing to go to a restaurant that has done something about stop wasting food that the restaurant that is not doing anything. So basically, to wrap things up, just to repeat my challenges. Challenge number 1, how could the food elite help the masses to gain more food intelligence? Challenge number 2, why do gastronomy frontrunners and influencers are not using their influence? Challenge number 3, how do we get control over those portion sizes? Challenge number 4, why are we not improving children's cooking skills? Challenge number 5, how do we make it easier for the single people? Challenge number 6, why are we not using the wonky and the ugly fruits and vegetables? And finally, why do we not do from nose to tail? Challenge number 7, why restaurants and canteens and gastronomers are not showing off their skills to stop wasting food. So here are the challenges. Here you go.